Oh, yeah, the Kennedy family. Now, the other day, when I was talking about the Kennedy family, I emphasized, and I feel a little bit embarrassed by what I said. Not a lot, but a little bit, because I more or less cast the whole Kennedy clan with the tribulations and the crimes and the bad behavior of a few of the Kennedy men primarily, although there were a couple of women who, once they married into the family, were driven to alcoholism because of what they had to deal with. The Kennedy family, like any huge extended family, I have to admit, probably has more than their share of the bullshit that large families can experience. But they have come together on one issue pretty much. They're first of all, as you know, they're one of the most iconic names in Democratic politics or in American politics. And they formally endorsed Joe Biden's election today. And what that was a complete, unqualified rejection of Robert Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy. He's running for president as an independent. And the family, the Kennedy family, knows, first of all, that Kerry Kennedy was on Morning Joe this morning. She made it very clear that she loves her brother, Robert Kennedy Jr. She likes her brother, Robert Kennedy Jr., but he's off the fucking rails. Well, that was my term, not hers. In this bid to run against Joe Biden. Because all he's going to do, for the people who don't understand, the people who still relate to the Kennedy name, he's going to take votes away from, that's the idea, that's Kennedy's idea, take votes away from Joe Biden. And I've said before, he's a stalking horse for Donald Trump. And any votes that Kennedy gets, I believe, and I think a lot of political pundits believe this also, not all the votes, but the vast majority of them will be votes taken away from Joe Biden. Like I told you, I think it was yesterday, I shared with you the fact that a Kennedy operative in New York State, the head of Kennedy's campaign in New York State, said that their primary goal was to deny Joe Biden electoral votes, which very simply means they are supporting Donald Trump. They're not even being that secretive about it. Anyway, the endorsement that the Kennedy family made at a Biden campaign rally in Philly doesn't come as a surprise. A bunch of Kennedys had already made their support for Biden known, and that included an appearance with Joe Biden during a St. Patrick's Day celebration at the White House last month when a lot of Kennedys showed up. Yet, by having dozens of members from the families of John F. Kennedy and Robert F. Kennedy come together to endorse Biden, gives Biden a boost. Because, Biden is running against a psychopath who has crawled into the minds of so many people in this country. And Robert Kennedy Jr. only adds to the confusion. In Kennedy's mind, it's not confusion. It is deliberately trying to destroy, I'm trying to find the right words here, destroy the Biden chance for second presidency. So Kerry Kennedy, who is the daughter of Robert Kennedy, it's Robert Kennedy Jr.'s sister, Kerry Kennedy said, quote, Donald Trump is running to take us backwards, attacking the most basic rights and freedoms that are core to who we are as Americans, end quote. And she added this, quote, a vote for Joe Biden is a vote to save our democracy and our decency. It is a vote for what my father called for in his own presidential announcement in 1968, which was our right to the moral leadership of this planet. End quote, Kerry Kennedy. And the last little bit there was something that Robert Kennedy said before he was murdered. Now, among those who were in attendance today was former U.S. Representative Joe Kennedy II and Joe Kennedy III. It just goes on endlessly, doesn't it? Joe Kennedy III serves as Biden's U.S. envoy, special envoy for Northern Ireland. Other people in attendance were, oh my God, look at these names. Beth Kennedy, Christopher Kennedy, Maxwell Taylor Kennedy, Vicky Strauss Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, Kerry Kennedy Meltzer, Max Meltzer, Ted Kennedy Jr., Stephen Kennedy Smith, Peter McElvey, and Rebecca McElvey. That's just a few of them. If you saw the picture that's circulating around news sources, you see just an enormous number of Kennedys gathered around Joe Biden for this endorsement. And it is not especially ironic at all that Joe Biden considers Robert F. Kennedy, Sr., you might say, late former senator from New York and attorney general, one of Joe Biden's political heroes. And in the Oval Office, in Biden's Oval Office, there is a bronze bust of Robert Kennedy. Kerry Kennedy and 3 other siblings wrote in a statement after Kennedy announced his independent bid last October. They wrote this, quote, "Bobby might share the same name as our father, but he does not share the same values, the same vision or judgment. We denounce his candidacy and believe it to be perilous for our country," end quote. Holy shit. I mean, you can't get more unequivocal than that, can you? Perilous for our country. Okay. And according to USA Today, in an interview on CNN this month, Robert Kennedy Jr. addressed the criticism of his family members, and he said this, quote, "I've got a big family. I don't know anybody in America who's got a family who agrees with him on everything," end quote. Well, okay, but the part you're leaving out here, Bobby Jr., is they don't agree with you on anything where it concerns your move to take electoral votes away from Joe Biden. So let's not equivocate, pal. Now, Kennedy currently, and this is where the danger is, he currently has a support of about 11%, according to a Real Clear Politics average of a bunch of polls. He has about 11% of likely voters nationally. Good God. And obviously that doesn't make him a serious contender to win anything, but his double-digit standing, 11%, is more than enough to swing political outcomes in battleground states. And as a result of those polling numbers, the Democrats are taking his threat, which is what that is. This is not a serious candidate. This fucker knows he's not going to be president. Come on. So why is he in there? This is like Jill Stein in the 2016 election. She knew goddamn good and well she had no more of a chance than I did. But she sucked off several 100,000 votes, and look what happened. Yeah, right. I know. Now, according to USA Today, the Democratic National Committee recently brought on a legal team to take a very close look at Kennedy's efforts to make it onto the ballots in key swing states. And what they've discovered so far, Robert Kennedy Jr. is complying with the law, and he's getting on these ballots as an independent, and it's going to have a profound effect on how this election turns out on November 5th. I don't get this kind of stuff. You know, these what do you call them? Egotistical attempts to run for president, like Jill Stein, like Robert Kennedy Jr. They know damn good and well they don't have a chance, but they want to be the spoiler. They want to be the person that so corrupts our political system that it becomes impossible for a decent person to win. Now, here's a little interesting sidebar to this Robert Kennedy Jr. thing. He claimed this week that Donald Trump's team asked him, Kennedy Jr., to consider being Trump's running mate. And no sooner did he say that, practically, than a Trump campaign official, another little Nazi fuck, totally denied it. Said that never happened. Never happened. But Kennedy posted that claim to his followers on X, and it came after several attacks by Trump on Truth Social that called Kennedy, quote, the most radical liberal candidate in the presidential race. And after that appeared, that's when Robert Kennedy Jr. posted on his own X account that he had been asked to be Trump's running mate. The thing is, and this is true, Democrats and Republicans are trying to define Kennedy in the general election race before Kennedy's campaign can define itself. And you have Trump's side calling him too liberal, and Biden's side connecting him with Trump and the MAGA movement. That's why this endorsement today by the Kennedy family of Joe Biden was so important, which should put this whole issue of what Robert Kennedy Jr. is all about in this presidential race to rest. I mean, it's very clear. Even his own family, when your own family turns against you for your political beliefs, shouldn't that be like a wake up, like a klaxon going off? Bah, 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 bah. I mean, shouldn't it? Of course it should. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.